Welcome to the NGConnects Podcast, where national Gypsum team members and industry leaders share insights and advice to solve construction and design challenges. We obsess over the details to help you build better. Hi, I'm Chris Whitmire with National Gypsum Company, and in this episode, I talk with Amy Hockett and Scott Hughes about the role of sustainability documents in manufacturing, product selection, and construction. We will also introduce the new sustainable family of products from Gold Bond Building Products, the new Evolve product line. Amy is a national marketing manager for architectural services. She oversees National Gypsum's technical marketing team and is a LEED certified licensed architect. Scott Hughes is a construction design manager serving the Northeast and Atlantic regions. Today, we're going to cover the basics of sustainability documents, including EPDs, environmental product declarations, and HPDs, health product declarations, and the role they play in manufacturing, product selection, and construction. By the end of this episode, you should have a clear understanding of EPDs and HPDs and how Evolve products can be used in sustainable building programs such as LEED. I'm looking forward to this discussion. So, Scott, let's start with you, and let's really just start at a high level. I know all day, every day, you're in front of architects, and you and I talk, the three of us talk a lot. This topic about sustainability, sustainable documentation, sustainable products is becoming more and more prevalent. Maybe just touch a little bit about, as you get into these conversations with architects, what are they asking about? What are some of those inquiries? What are some of those conversations like?
Sure. You know, the architectural firms are heavily involved in these sustainable systems now. We've seen that develop over the last 4 or 5 years. And now in order to get in their specifications, they're looking for your documentation to prove that you've got specific things like EPDs, HPDs that we're going to talk a little bit more about as we go through here. And if you don't have them, it's a tough conversation to have with the architect. But, you know, National Gypsum has put together a very nice program of having these documentations. So the conversations are around, I'd like to specify XYZ product. Do you all have an HPD, an EPD for those products? And fortunately, we can say yes. And we'll talk a little bit more why that's so important. But those conversations are almost daily now. You know, I've been doing this quite a long time. And in the last 5 or 6 years, it was weekly, and now it's almost daily. So firms from Boston to DC, New York City, Chicago, and I'm sure plenty of other cities, these firms are looking for it, whether they're doing a sustainable design program or clients are just demanding it on their own.
And maybe this is a question for both of you. What do you think's driving that? What's your opinion on that?
There are, so architects are participating in the AIA 2030 commitment, which is a commitment to show that you're building product, you're building, designing and building projects with a lower environmental impact. I mean, there's different metrics that are included within the AIA 2030 commitment, but architects need to provide the documentation to show that they are indeed using materials that have a lower environmental impact. But then, as Scott's already mentioned, there are multiple different green building rating systems. And so to achieve a certain certification, you'll need to show, architects and contractors need to provide the documentation to show that products with a lower environmental impact or are healthy material selection. So the healthy material selection being the document would be the health product declaration, and for a lower environmental impact, you'd be using the EPDs or environmental product declarations.
They're transparency documents, and it really kind of sheds a little bit of light on kind of what we're doing from a manufacturing standpoint, how it's impacting the environment, how it may impact health. At the end of the day, that's really, in essence, what these documents are about, right? And then also being, doing the right thing and being good stewards of the environment, right? I mean, that's safe to say.
They are, and they're also going to be required to be in the specification. So in order for us to compete in the market, a manufacturer to compete, you're going to need to have these documents.
So it's not just an architect or a contractor just asking, do we have them? And really, you need to have these documents in order to be included in the specification on a project. Is that
Right.
safe to say? Okay.
You got it.
Interesting.
And it's becoming a document that's used to evaluate the lowest impact product for the specification. So to meet certain goals, some architecture firms are stating specific global warming potential for product categories such as gypsum board.
Sure.
And in order to provide evidence of meeting that goal, you have to have these documents. So an environmental product declaration, an EPD, would be required for a manufacturer to show that you are actually meeting the requirements of the specification. I think carbon and global warming potential and
Two big ones.
Those are
Top of mind.
well, those are also, you mentioned earlier around what do you think is driving this? I mean, project teams are looking for net zero carbon buildings. Passive House is another green rating system, a green building rating system. So these documents are allowing project teams to certify projects based on evidence and data that is verified, third-party verified,
documentation.
and it's standardized documents that are able to be used in product selection against other products in the same category.
So Scott, Amy, what is an EPD or an environmental product declaration, and what does it capture or what does it measure?
An environmental product declaration is a document that's a standardized document based on ISO standards. So think about that this is a document that is similar across all the products that are in that certain category, which is helpful when you're doing comparisons. And it's assessing information about the product's life cycle from whatever the inception of its raw material extraction all the way through, could be all the way through to end of life, start to finish, cradle to gate, cradle to grave. And it's measuring environmental impacts. Some of those categories are carbon emissions, think global warming potential. That's the metric that is being used and is being asked of us by architects to provide what your global warming potential is. So again, carbon emissions are one of the metrics, environmental impact metrics that are being reported on in the document. Water usage, waste generation, electrical or energy usage. So those are some of the metrics that are provided and modeled in the life cycle assessment, which is then provided for in the environmental product declaration. So for LEED V5, and this is the newest rating system from U.S. Green Building Council, the requirement for the environmental product declaration are the life cycle stages from cradle to gate. So from that perspective, we are providing an environmental product declaration, an EPD, that is from the material extraction. So all the materials that are put into the manufacturing process, how those are extracted, how they are manufactured, that goes into the life cycle assessment. And then all the manufacturing process, so that's another stage, the actual making of the product. And then all the way to when that product leaves our facility. Yeah. So that's the gate. So cradle, think of that as the inception of all these materials that are being used in the manufacturing process itself, and then getting the product to leaving our facility. So that's kind of cradle to gate. That's the specific life cycle stages that are required by a document that can comply for the LEED credit to be cradle to gate.
Interesting. Okay, so that, I think, great summary on the EPD. Let's bounce over to the HPD, the Health Product Declaration. How is the HPD different than the EPD? What are some of the maybe different metrics that are captured in that HPD?
While the EPD is more around the life cycle assessment of the product and the environmental impact of a product, the Health Product Declaration is, again, a standardized document. So that's very useful in the industry to have standardized documents that can be project teams that are doing research on projects can evaluate projects based on a standardized document. And this particular document assesses all of the ingredients that are in inside or used to manufacture that particular product. So the substances and all the ingredients, I mean, we talk about the EPD sometimes being a sustainable nutrition label. We'll think from an environmental impact perspective, think of the HPD as a nutrition label that assesses the material health of the product. It is primarily focused around any risk factors related to the substances that are put into the product, and they're screened against the green screen evaluation. So again, primarily against human health risk factors. There are some environmental factors, but primarily the HPD is evaluating if the product has any potential health risk to occupants.
Yeah, they want a safe product that's not going to off-gas over a length of period of time and cause people to be sick in the building. So that's really the
And that's one metric. That's just one metric. The
we all want to go to work and be healthy.
Sure,
yeah. We don't want to get sick at work. So,
yeah, absolutely.
But again, it's nice that there's standardized formats that have different thresholds from 1,000 parts per million to 100 parts per million. So there's different thresholds of disclosure. And again, from my perspective, it allows us to be the best partners we can be to our clients, to our customers that are wanting to specify our products, use our products in buildings. So we are partnering by providing these documents to the marketplace so that people can make healthy decisions about the products that are being put into their buildings, healthy decisions from a environmental perspective as well as from put in place healthy material selections. They're just like they're assessing a little bit different type of information and analyzing the information a little bit differently. So it's really assessing risk on the HPD and assessing the life cycle analysis of the product from manufacturing to end of life.
A lot of different components. So if one of our audience members was wanting to find one of these documents, these sustainability documents that is available at nationalgypsum.com, where would they find these documents? Design and Resource Center? Design and Resource
Center in our nationalgypsum.com website. And under that particular heading, there is a sustainable product literature filtering system. Okay. So it's very easy to find. Clicks. And you can also search with the search bar. So it's very easy to find. But under the Design and Resource Center is the best, is where these documents are located, as well as on the product pages for each of our manufacturing companies. So if you're on Gold Bond Building Products and you are looking for a specific document and you are on the product page, they're also going to be found on the product page. So we've tried to include those in different places, but as a whole portfolio of our sustainability transparency documents, you'll find those on the Design and Resource Center.
Well, one other thing before we jump into another conversation about maybe some of the products that are available, these green or sustainable building rating systems, maybe speak a little bit about that. I know LEED is probably the most prevalent that's out there. I don't know if there's any others, but
yeah,
I'm assuming these sustainability documents are going to be needed in these types of, if you have a project that's that incorporates one of these rating systems, you're going to have that, right?
So for LEED, you will need that, as well as for Living Building Challenge, for a project that is trying to achieve the LBC Living Building Challenge. You will also see that these can be used with any project that's trying to get to a net zero or passive house. There's other rating systems, green globes. So, and then on top of that, just there might be procurement reasons from like the U.S. government that you need to have these documents. So in order to purchase in specific cities like
up in North,
DC,
up in your neck
Washington,
of the woods.
DC.
Yep. The other thing, too, is a lot of firms maybe not be going for a LEED certification,
Right.
but they still want to follow the guidelines and they still want the documents, even though their client doesn't actually want to get a certification. So we've been talking about these systems that require the EPDs and HPDs, but it's also just normal
Doing the
everyday
right
jobs.
thing, right?
That a lot of firms are demanding it, and we need to have those to be competitive in those situations, those projects as well.
Okay.
Yeah, just companies, their own sustainability
Goals.
metrics and goals.
Yeah. Being good stewards of the environment.
These documents will help owners, contractors, architects that have their own sustainability goals. So these will help provide evidence to lower impact, lower environmental impact products.
Okay.
Right.
Products. That's a good segue. Gold Bond Building Products just launched their new sustainable product line, the Evolve family of products.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent line, excellent family of products. Yeah, I know our Evolve X, our Type X product, which you're going to see probably most on commercial projects,
Mm-hmm.
up to 20% lighter than our 5/8 Fire Shield gypsum board. I know during the manufacturing process, it conserves water, reduces energy use. One of the other great things is transportation efficiency. I know that's one of the things that we market and promote. We're able to put an additional 3 to 4 units on our outbound trucks to our dealer partners. We also have Evolve 30, which is our 30-minute non-Type X product. And then Evolve XP, our moisture, mold, and mildew resistant
Type X.
5/8 Type X product. Are you starting to see more and more of those products specified being talked about in the architectural community? I know we're hearing a lot about it from our field sales teams, your colleagues and counterparts.
Now, for a couple of years. Yeah, the big cities, big projects. For every reason you just said, contractors will love the product because it's a lighter weight, less wear and tear on the body. So some of the sales is driven that way, but it's really the carbon aspect of the products as well as the global warming potential numbers. With good results, we've got a very good, long, sustainable product that can be installed that performs just like the standard drywall performs. There's really no difference in performance at all as far as fire ratings and things like that. So. The demand is high for these products.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, from a sustainability perspective, project teams are looking for products that have a low global warming potential.
Yes.
And so the Environmental Product Declaration will report that metric. And with the Evolve line, what's nice about having the documentation for the EPDs for our Evolve X and our Evolve XP, we're able to show a decreased global warming potential over a baseline. And so our Type X product would have a slightly higher global warming potential than the Evolve X, as well as it shows a decrease from the industry-wide. So the Gypsum Association provides an industry-wide environmental product declaration. And so specifications are now written, and as well some of the rating systems require for products to help with certain credits.
Sure.
That your products can help provide compliance with that credit by showing a lower global warming potential, GWP, than the industry-wide GWP. So anytime that we can provide the opportunity to help a project team with a product like Evolve
Sure.
to be able to achieve their goals or a rating system credit compliance, that's helpful.
And that's one of the things I really like about this new family of products is the versatility. It's lightweight. The contractors really prefer a lightweight 5/8 Type X product. The architectural community, and not just the architects, but I think we have a lot of contractors out there now. We're seeing more and more contractors, GCs, that are looking for sustainable products. So it fits the bill in that regard. But also I think about, in terms of versatility, I go back to our Working Properties campaign that we launched several years ago, and being able to use these products in conjunction with Max 12, our 12-inch on-center optimized fastener pattern. for framing members that are spaced 24 inches on center. Max 16, our optimized fastener pattern for when framing members are spaced 16 inches on center. We have all the 3 products that you need. We've got the 30-minute, we've got obviously the Type X, the Evolve X, and then we've also got the Evolve XP, which not very many manufacturers out there have a moisture, mold, and mildew resistant, lightweight, eco-friendly product. And I just go back to that versatility piece. And I think based off the demand from an architectural standpoint, contractor standpoint, dealer standpoint, I just feel the Evolve family of products is just top notch.
And I think it's important to mention that our EPDs for the Evolve X is a product-specific EPD, and that matters. I mean, that is that for the
plant product specific, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that matters when it comes to trying to achieve credits. Trying to achieve points towards credits is the better way to say that. With LEED and some of the other things, when you have a product-specific, instead of using the industry-wide, which we do with some products, you do use that. But you get a few more credits. So it really does make us even a little bit better, a little bit more attractive to be specified because we have those product-specific
our product would
EPDs.
be weighted more heavily with a product-specific EPD.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't want to get too far down into the weeds. We start getting into this PCR, the product category rules. I know there's been some changes in regards to the product category rules, and one of those changes is moving forward, EPDs are going to have to be plant and product specific, not just a weighted average EPD. And I think that's really important, especially as we talk about Evolve. The EPDs that we have for Evolve are plant and product specific. So
correct.
It's important for...
And that may not be the case for every product category. So we're in the Gypsum product category. And so when I was talking about the fact that these are standardized documents that are following ISO standards, the product category rule really dictates how that document is prepared, how the data is being modeled. And those people that are making product selections have confidence in the document and the results of the document showing that our data has been modeled similarly to whoever else is within that product category. And those product category rules are defined specifically for in our case, it's a gypsum board. So that category rule, while it's no pun intended, but it has evolved into a
I like that, Amy. That's all what you did there.
Plant and product specific, it could be different for other product categories. Maybe steel has something different, concrete has something different.
It can get complicated.
Yeah. So from a sustainability perspective, like these products are more sustainable from the perspective of having a lower carbon footprint is super important to architects, specifiers, contractors. So the document shows by a lower global warming potential that we therefore have a lower carbon footprint, lower embodied carbon. And that's based on using less water. Less water in our product means we use less energy. So those tie together creates a lower global warming potential number and therefore allows for product teams to have confidence that we've captured the fact that these products are more sustainable because we're having a lower environmental impact. We're lessening the burden of the product to the environment. Most importantly, really that global warming potential, but it's because of using less water. So the fact that we do have lower water usage means that we use less energy during the manufacturing process, and therefore we will have a lower embodied carbon, a lower global warming potential. So that's important for projects that are looking to, you already mentioned that, Scott's talking to project teams all day long, architects all day long, and they're asking for this documentation. And the reason is that they're evaluating whether it is a low carbon or a less carbon intensive, a less embodied carbon, because once the carbon is in the product, in the project, that is already embedded in the project through the materials. You can't get a lower emission number. I mean, you can do that through operational carbon. However, you cannot ever change the materials of the building. That's locked in from the time that the building is built. So while project teams have some levers that they can do around like operational performance of equipment, the embodied carbon in the material is locked in from the day that the building is built. So that's why these project teams are super focused and hyper-focused on emphasizing selecting lower carbon products while the project is being constructed so that they have less burden from the inception of the building. And that's why it's important for this documentation to show that we can provide products that have a lower carbon footprint.
Yeah, well said, Amy. I think it's also important to note with our Evolve family of products, we can put an additional 3 to 4 units of board on a truck on our outbound trucks going to our dealer partners. I hear this all the time from our dealer partners. They love the fact that they can get an additional 3 to 4 units of Evolve product when it leaves our facility and lands at their yard. So we always talk about transportation efficiency, which really also reduces carbon emissions. We're getting more board.
Super important.
Yeah,
and contractors have sustainability metrics and goals that their companies provide for them, and transportation creates carbon emissions. And so therefore, the more you can get onto a truck, even though this isn't something that's evaluated in the EPD, by providing products that are lighter weight and have their own sustainability story, we're able to also participate in the goals of contractors, our dealers that want to provide products to a project with a lower carbon emission, lower carbon footprint.
And, with that, I think that's probably a good place to close out this segment. I want to thank you both for your time. I know you all have very, very busy schedules. I just more than anything really appreciate you coming in here, informing our audience members of Evolve, informing our audience members of the sustainability documents, the important sustainability documents that are out there, the HPDs, health product declarations, the EPDs, environmental product declarations. And if any of our audience members has any questions, feel free to reach out to any of our Gold Bond associates, National Gypsum associates, or you can reach us at 1-800-NATIONAL. It's our construction services department. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you. Amy, Scott, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
All the resources we've mentioned today will be added to the show notes. All our podcasts can be found on your favorite platform or by visiting nationalgypsum.com/podcasts. If you have any questions or an idea for a topic, email us at podcast@nationalgypsum.com. National Gypsum Company is the exclusive service provider of reliable, high-performance building products manufactured by its affiliate companies and marketed under the Gold Bond, Proform, and Permabase brands. The National Gypsum name has been synonymous with high-quality, innovative products and exceptional customer service since 1925. The information provided in this podcast is for general information purposes only. For specific building or design questions, please consult with the 1-800-NATIONAL Construction Services team or your regional National Gypsum Construction Design Manager. Always use products in accordance to the manufacturer's recommendations.